doing some very interesting elbows to the forearms of Merab, and I'm just curious what his game plan was, because of all those things that he did, he only needed to make one of them different from the first fight. And it was a very different fight, largely in the wrestling, but also in the stand-up, also the way he was switching. I'd love to hear what Yan thinks. I'd love to hear what Yan thinks he did well tonight.
Я думаю, сейчас, наверное, он в джакузи опять с мальчиками.
What can I say? He's probably in jacuzzi right now with the boys hashing it out.
Не, ну он всю неделю там много говорил, честно сказать.
The whole week he kind of talked a bit too much. I'll be honest about it.
Я думаю, что мое время немножко пришло.
I think maybe it's finally my time for a bit.
Little bit, да.
It's the end of the reign. That's the end of the machine's reign. Who would have thought? Who would have thought Pete comes and looks like that? Holy sh! I will, Taryn. I'm gonna beat the drum for that.
What we just witnessed from Petr Yan wasn't a win, it was a generational statement that left the entire MMA world stunned. Islam Makhachev paid his respects to the new champion Petr Yan, and even to Merab Dvalishvili after their incredible UFC 323 war. Yan's victory over Dvalishvili capped one of the most dominant and productive runs any bantamweight has delivered. Makhachev took to X, offering his homage and making his stance crystal clear. He wrote, "Merab, you're one of the greatest to ever step into this cage. Congratulations, Peter, you deserve it." But what made this victory even more remarkable was Yan's composure under constant pressure. Merab came in with his trademark pace, a relentless, drowning tempo that had broken so many before, yet Yan never once looked overwhelmed. Every feint, every counter, every angle he created reminded fans why he was considered one of the most precise strikers in the division's history.
He wanted this opportunity back in September when he looked great against Corey Sandhagen. It was teed up. I think a lot of us expected him to do what Merab does, and it didn't happen tonight, Chael.
It was awesome, not just that Petr Yan won, but that he came back. Guys, nobody was asking for this fight. Nobody was trying to get Petr Yan into a rematch. Nobody was thinking that he could flip the script. He had 49 takedowns attempts put on him in their first contest. 11 of them succeeded. It was a 5-round beating against him, but he believed in himself, and he had a very long road to get here. Going through Song Dong, just by example, but everybody that he had to go through to find himself back in this position, of which he started the night as a 3 1/4 to 1 underdog.
Yep.
He still found a way. Some people had him all 5 rounds. I had him 4 rounds to 1. I couldn't quite hear what the officials were, but the point was, it was dominant, and what a difference.
And while Merab kept shooting for takedowns and waves, Yan's defensive wrestling stole the spotlight. He neutralized Merab's best weapon, forced him into desperate exchanges, and slowly turned the fight into the hive of striking battle Yan thrives in. By the championship rounds, the tide had completely shifted. Yan was dictating every moment of the fight.
I think Petr Yan knew what a lot of us as fighters and a lot of the coaches talked about, that he didn't need to change his entire game plan. He just needed to do a couple things a little bit better. I think him backing Merab up made it much harder for Merab to shoot. He shot half as much as he did in the first fight. I think the body shots made a huge difference. He attacked the body often with kicks and punches, and but yesterday we talked about he needed to do more in between those takedown attempts, and I think he did that tonight.
The win also reshapes the entire bantamweight landscape, and with Yan on the throne, long-awaited matchups and old rivalries suddenly roar back to life. And for Merab, though the loss stings, his stock doesn't suffer. He pushed Yan to the limit in a fight fans will be talking about for years. This wasn't just a title bout, it was a statement performance that redefines what it takes to become champion.
What was your game plan tonight? Now, I know what he did do. I saw him walking down. I saw him going orthodox and southpaw. I saw him trying to get takedowns himself and scrambling. But was that the plan? Was it just to keep distance? Was it to make sure that Merab was going back? Like, there might have been something very simple that Yan did. Every time there was an entry by Merab, it was the same underhook that defended it. Just for example, he was doing some very interesting elbows to the forearms of Merab, and I'm just curious what his game plan was, because of all those things that he did, he only needed to make one of them different from the first fight. And it was a very different fight, largely in the wrestling, but also in the stand-up, also the way he was switching. I'd love to hear what Yan thinks. I'd love to hear what Yan thinks he did well tonight.
Fighters reacted with praise for both fighters, and veteran Matt Brown is already looking ahead to a third fight, writing on Twitter, "The trilogy fight is going to be epic." While the entire MMA world is stunned by Petr Yan's generational performance, UFC President Dana White was equally full of praise. Sharing his thoughts after the fight, Dana commended Yan for delivering the exact kind of show many believed he was capable of. He pointed out how powerful and precise best Yan looked in this long-awaited revenge match against Merab Dvalishvili. In Zdana's words, he always knew Yan had the potential to reclaim the world title, but the way he performed on this night left even him amazed, full of admiration for the newly crowned bantamweight champion.
This guy is going to be your world champion, and he's a special fighter, I'm telling you, and Matt Serra was absolutely right.
Petr Yan's performance that night left everyone in complete shock. Even Tim Welch was speechless as he reacted to the way Yan dismantled Merab Dvalishvili to reclaim the bantamweight title. In his words, Yan's devastating victory didn't just earn him the belt, it officially ended the machine's reign. Welch called Yan's display a true masterclass, a perfect blend of revenge, skill, and precision. Winning in such dominant fashion, he said, proves just how elite Yan really is. Now, with the division shaken up, the whole world waits to see what comes next for the newly crowned champion.
Petr Yan, wow. What a savage. Wins the belt, loses 3 in a row, comes back, wins. Bro, it's fucking crazy. Right, Gomer? For sure. Guys, if we go sit Yan on his ass, you know what the fuck's gonna happen next.
After the victory, Petr Yan also shared his thoughts. Coming off a generational performance and finally securing the revenge he had been chasing, Yan didn't hold back when addressing Merab Dvalishvili. He took a moment to fire back, condemning Merab's habit of excessive trash talk throughout fight week, and even before that, something Yan made clear he never appreciated. Yan expressed openly that all the talking did nothing to help Merab when it mattered. In the end, it was Yan's dominant performance and decisive win that silenced everything, shutting down all the noise with actions, not words.
Was there anything specifically that he said this week that got to you, or was it just everything in general?
Он просто болтает много.
He just talks too much in general.
That's fair. And
Брат, ты посмотри на мою команду, вот, ребята. Если бы он реально что-то хотел сказать, мы бы могли же это выяснить. Ну, он просто болтает.
Look at my team, dude. Look at them. If he really wanted to have an issue and say something, we could have figured this out, but I think he just talks.
With Petr Yan's performance shocking everyone, Luke Thomas also shared his immediate reaction. He noted that Merab Dvalishvili appeared somewhat inactive in the fight, suggesting that a tough weight cut may have contributed to his underwhelming performance. On the other hand, Luke couldn't deny for a moment that Yan was performing at an elite level, pointing out that he landed not just a few, but far more takedowns than anyone expected. With the eyes of the MMA world now looking toward a potential trilogy, Luke believes that a third fight could carry even more hype and momentum than the first 2 battles.
Hands locked. Hands locked. 2 minutes. Look at Merab though. Look at Merab still on the gas. He's just getting out MMA'd. He's getting fucking just look at out.
Wrestled too.
He's just his skill is so sick. Okay, Merab's going full power squeeze into this. Peter's obviously not fazed by it. Arm and guillotines are hard. He's got to keep his head tucked. Peter's got to keep his head tucked, and he just pulls out. He said grits out of it. Says fuck this. Holy shit. Petr Yan is gonna be the champ. Petr Yan is gonna be the fucking champ.
Bilal Muhammad praised Petr Yan's performance, calling it a display that truly showed Yan at the peak of his skills and fighting ability. He highlighted Yan's technique as virtually flawless, noting that in every aspect of athleticism, from striking to grappling and an overall fight IQ, Yan demonstrated a level of mastery few fighters reach. Muhammad emphasized that this was the kind of performance that not only wins titles but also commands respect across the entire MMA world. Demetrius Johnson also gave his quick reaction to the fight, highlighting the way Merab Dvalishvili usually completes by calling his past performances and pointing out a unique approach Merab often uses against opponents. Johnson admitted he was surprised, even wrong, in predicting that Merab would retain the belt, as what Petr Yan did in this fight was simply extraordinary. He went on to break down key moments, explaining how Yan dominated Merab with precision, power, and skill. In Johnson's view, it was a performance on another level, a display of mastery that left everyone, including himself, completely shocked.
If you look at all the guys he's fought, from Henry Cejudo to Jose Aldo to Sean O'Malley twice to Corey Sandhagen, I mean, you go down the list of all the guys that Merab has fought, he does one single thing to all of them, and that's break them. He breaks all of his opponents by taking him down over and over and over and over and over again, and then eventually get him taking him down, and then just grind and pound him, and the machine just keeps on spinning people out. But not Petr Yan. Petr Yan took the fight to Merab, meaning that each time Merab failed a takedown defense, Petr Yan was right in his face, doing this, doing this, doing this. And each time they would exchange, Petr Yan would always go to the body.
Johnson also highlighted the flaws and weaknesses that Merab Dvalishvili unfortunately revealed in this fight. He pointed out that Merab is the kind of fighter whose momentum relies heavily on his ability to secure takedowns, and when he couldn't impose that aspect of his game, it was evident in his performance against Petr Yan. In Johnson's view, Merab seemed hesitant to take Yan down, while Yan, on the other hand, showed no fear at any moment. The damage Merab took from Yan's high kicks only underscored how superior Yan was, not just in conditioning but in overall preparation. From targeting the body to demonstrating elite-level skills across all areas, Yan's performance left no doubt that he was on a completely different level.
And Petr Yan was able to capitalize on it. But I think the biggest thing that we have to look at is Petr Yan's conditioning, taking the fight to Merab, and also defending the takedown. If Merab can't get the takedown, then his game cannot flourish. He can still beat you, right? Like he beat Corey Sandhagen on the feet, but his game is evolved around that takedown. If he's able to get takedown or wear you down and break you mentally and physically and your spirit and your conditioning, he will maul you. But that's something he couldn't do to Petr Yan. Petr Yan was there every step of the way, and Petr Yan was not scared to take him down by shooting a double leg, securing a takedown.
Breaking down the fight, Demetrius Johnson offered advice for Merab Dvalishvili to reconsider his approach. He noted that Merab's exhaustion from constantly pushing for takedowns left him demotivated, and that was exactly where Petr Yan capitalized. Highlighting the flaws in Merab's fighting style, Johnson emphasized that no matter how tough a fighter is, the body needs rest. His advice to Merab was to balance training with recovery. Instead of grinding in the gym year-round and taking a high number of fights, he should focus on strategic preparation and allow his body time to recover.
Even when Merab would go for the guillotine, Petr Yan would pick him up and slam him, spiked him on his head, and that's one thing. Each time Merab fails the takedown, and each time Merab gets taken down and has to belly down, that is a gas being drained from the machine. And let's look at the facts too. Merab, that's his 4th title defense this year. That's his 4th weight cut this year. This man is always in camp. Guys, believe it or not, it doesn't matter how genetically gifted you are, everybody is human and your body needs rest. And like Merab says, he's not making any excuses, but I think doing 4 fights in a year, that is a That is 32 weeks of hard training.
Overall, Petr Yan's performance at UFC 323 was nothing short of spectacular. From start to finish, he displayed a level of skill, precision, and composure that left fans and analysts alike in awe. Every strike, every takedown, every calculated move highlighted why Yan is considered one of the elite fighters in MMA today. On the other hand, Merab Dvalishvili, who came in with high expectations, left many fans disappointed. His inability to impose his game, combined with moments of hesitation, allowed Yan to dominate the fight and completely dictate the pace. It was a statement performance, not just a victory. It sent a clear message to the entire bantamweight division.
Entertaining fight, but this was vintage Petr Yan. This was the Petr Yan who was wrecking fools in his first run as UFC bantamweight champion. And imagine 4.5 years ago, he makes the critical mistake. He hits Aljamain Sterling with the illegal knee. 3.5 years ago, he loses to Aljo in the rematch via submission. 2.5 years ago, he loses to Merab. Now here he is, once again, the man in the bantamweight division. This is a guy who has been through a lot. He won 3 in a row to get back here, and it's a great performance, and it's a great win, and he won that title fair and square. Blown away by the performance. I mean, a master class, if you will, but it will forever be dissected and debated whether or not.
Beyond the octagon, UFC 323 marked the end of an era, being the last fight card broadcast on ESPN. The card itself was nothing short of amazing, filled with high-energy fights and moments that will be remembered for years. With new Paramount deals in the horizon, the UFC is entering a new chapter, and all eyes are now on the future matchups. As for Yan, speculation runs wild. Who will challenge the new bantamweight champion next? One thing is certain, his future is bright, and he has firmly established himself at the top of the sport.
This was the Petr Yan show, or a little bit of a mistake on Merab Dvalishvili's part. Again, much dissected in its own right. 4 fights in 2025, the decision to come back so soon after the 5-round victory over Corey Sandhagen back in October. Did he take on too much? Too many weight cuts, too many rounds, too many minutes inside the octagon? Was this a mistake, and how much of that came into play here tonight in that performance? Because this was not the Merab that we have seen as of late. Failed many takedown attempts, looked tired, was getting beat up, was getting pieced on his feet. In fact, it looked like he was falling in love with the striking early on, and when I was watching that, I was thinking to myself, could this be part of his undoing?
If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe to Boxism, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest fight reactions, analysis, and updates. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Who do you think is next for Petr Yan? Until next time, see y'all.